address you and the young minds in Punjab and lovely university. So thank you. I think what drives us is a very common factor amongst us all, is humanity. And especially I come from Punjab myself, in a village where we all live together, different religions, different faiths. And our humanity is defined every day in the Sikh prayers, Sarbat Kapala, Pandike Shakana, so, we are actually all humanitarians. And if you go anywhere in the world, the people from Punjab, it could be Punjab, from India side, Pakistan side, our hearts are open, our doors are open, we are very welcoming. But even in the Gurdwaras, we are taught by humanity, but we fail to take the food and the langar where it's needed. The concept of langar is so brilliant, so fantastic, so beautiful, that will feed anyone and everyone. Our gurus taught us love, equality, gender equality, equality in economic status, everything, that we are all equal in langar. Yet, if we question ourselves, why do some of us think that refugees are less human than us? Why are people struggling in poverty less human than us? Why is there such a caste system where we look down at people who are different to us, maybe economically, religiously, economic background? But we need to understand that if, say, our Guru Nanak Dev Ji is here today, would our Guru say, no, I'm not giving langar to a refugee, I'm not giving langar to somebody because they are different religion to me or different caste to me? So it's humanity that driven us. And we called it Khalsa Aid because the Khalsa Aid is the ultimate humanitarian. We fight oppression, we face so many injustices, we tackle it head on. And we have the concept of Deg Deg Fateh, where we will protect the Deg with the Deg, and we'll serve food wherever it may be, food or water, like Bhai Kanhaiya ji did during the battles during the Mughal time. So our inspiration comes from who we are, our roots in Sikhi, our roots as Punjabis, and people from a land of very much a spiritual land across India.
Absolutely. All right. So I was going through your profile and I found this very interesting fact that in the 1999, when you first started Khalsa Aid, the first donation that came in was from a Muslim person. And I think that is just a very beautiful story to exhibit and to tell that, when it comes to humanity, you see beyond religion. So I just wanted to ask you this question as to when did you first think of this idea of starting an organization as grand as this?
It was during the 1999 when the Sikhs around the world were celebrating 300 years of the Khalsa, from 1699 to 1999. I suggested many different ideas about how we should mark this momentous occasion. And then during that time, there was a war in Kosovo. A lot of the refugees were coming into Albania and Europe. And I was watching TV with all the refugees fighting for a piece of bread. And then I questioned myself, we're going to have 300 years, Nagar Kirtan, street procession. There'll be so much langar. But in Europe, there's a war and there are people who have no bread. They are starving. What is the message of langar? Are we supposed to be feeding those who are already fed? So I talked to some of my friends, said, look, we should launch Khalsa Aid because in 300 years of the Khalsa, we should give something back to the world, but have such an organization that sees beyond race and religion and just sees people and human beings. And during that time, we went out to collect with our buckets in our hands and in our town in Slough in the UK. And the first person to donate was a Muslim shopkeeper who emptied his till on a Sunday morning into the bucket, said to us, may Allah bless you guys. And nobody in our community at the time said, why are you helping Muslim refugees? Because the refugees were Muslim. But nobody questioned it. They all said, brilliant. So 21 years ago, this idea was born to continue the message of Bhai Kanhaiya ji and to basically be better human beings. And, we're in this country in Europe, we're second generation, some are third generation. We don't have the same worries as our parents. So we come from villages which are poor. We come from Punjab that needs help, India that needs help places. So why don't we, as migrants, as immigrants who've done really well, give something back to the world, including to our own countries and states, as well as those who are struggling. So the idea was basically, the idea was already there. It's just instigating it and reigniting it again.
All right, sir. That's great. I just wanted to ask another question as well in terms of Khalsa Aid. The people who work in Khalsa Aid, they also go to these, disaster-struck places where even if there's a flood or there's an earthquake, the volunteers go and they help out and they, help people in getting foods and everything. But, to do that work, you need to be skilled as well. And I wanted to ask, how do you skill your volunteers to be a part of all these activities and to go to different places and help people out?
Well, initially, we weren't experienced in aid work. When we went from Kosovo, went to Turkey, went to Somalia, went to Congo. So in a way, we are self-taught, and we learn many things the hard way. It's like jumping in the deep end. So the biggest qualification you need to have is a big heart, and you need to be open with people. You need to accept people around the world, no matter what religion they are, what faith, what background, as equal, not like you're better than them, you judge people. And when you travel to these countries, you'll see people working from different religions. I'll give you an example. During the tsunami in 2004 and 5, I landed in Andaman Islands. We work with Lions Club. We work with different groups, Hindu groups, Muslim groups, Sikh groups, and they had different skill sets. We had the funding, so we said, let's utilize their local knowledge, local contacts to purchase aid. Because what happens, as aid workers, when we travel to our country, this includes India too, and Africa, and other parts of Asia, people see us like somebody with a lot of money, and then they increase the prices. So what we do is we will work, say something happened in your area, we'll come to you. We'll say, wow, you got the seva in your heart, we got the funds. Can we work together? So we ask you to negotiate for us what we want to buy, because you know the dealers, you know the business people, we can keep the prices low. So we don't have, now, as 21 years later, we look for people with skill set, medical, engineering maybe, some sort of skill set they can bring is a huge bonus. But even to this day, the biggest skill, the biggest contribution, biggest asset, or suppose you need, is an open heart, non-presidential, non-judgmental, and you will see, as soon as you land in the country, and you will see people around you doing some similar work, you will find your feet. That you can't have a closed heart. The biggest qualification is you are non-judgmental. We can teach everything else. We can even teach skill sets, but we can't teach someone not to hate. We don't have that sort of length of time. We can inspire maybe someone. If you got hate in your heart for some religion and we send you to that country, you're not going to perform. So the biggest skill is still an open heart of a human being.
All right, sir. So if you were to tell us about the kind of world that you imagine in your head, because this is coming from a person, who's been doing so much and spreading so much of love. So I want to see what is the picture of the perfect world in your head.
Well, we can all have pictures of what we like to see around the globe, the world. And I would say eventually people around the world will become better educated, more wiser to the fact that everywhere in the world, not just in the UK, but all around the world, politicians will divide us. They will divide us on religion, on race, on caste, on culture. They will divide us. One day, some of the youngsters now, in the different institutions learning different skill sets, they will learn to be humanitarians. They will judge for themselves. They will think for themselves. They will act as humanitarians for themselves. It'll be a perfect world where we are not divided over religion. It'll be a perfect world where we don't walk past somebody in our village, in our street, who is starving. And I can tell you now, the last 21 years, I've seen a whole generation in our community grown up, who grew up around Khalsa Aid, and they don't have any hate for anyone. They want to get involved. Like I said to you, in Punjab or India alone, we got 20-something thousand volunteers registered. and maybe
Yes.
like 3 times or more unregistered, because they want to be involved. They want to do some work.
Yeah.
They want to be part of humanity. So a perfect world isn't far out. You know, people say, I dream of a world. You don't need to dream of a world. You have a vision. We can all be dreamers. The vision is something you can follow. So if you have a vision where you want to create a better world, where does it start from? Let me tell you where it starts. It starts in your family. It starts in your neighborhood. It starts in your village. It starts in your region. And then it starts in your country, then global. Nothing starts at the top. With us, including ourselves, we done seva at the Gurdwara when we were young. You know, you could do seva in the Gurdwara, in the mosque, in the mandir, in the church. Then you can help the people, community around you, like the university students listening in now. You know, you go back to your childhood when you were young, like 4 or 5 or 6 years old, and you fell down and your friend helped you up. You felt so good. So, you know, we need to remember that. You know the old saying, we rise by lifting others. So we should rise together. We shouldn't be leaving anybody behind. We need to stop being judgmental. A perfect world is achievable. A perfect world starts with you. The change for anything in the world will start with you. When you re-examine yourself, when you reflect who you are, when you reflect, am I doing enough for my street? Am I doing enough for my city, my village? Can I do something for a village of 10 miles away? They're struggling with poverty and water. Can I educate some kids? Can I share some books? We're all humanitarians. Somewhere along the line, we lose our humanity because we get into this rat race. Everything is achievable. It's not a dream. It's a vision. And visions, it can be achieved. But it has to start with the individual. The seva starts from here, it goes up. Nothing starts from the top.
Yeah, sir, agreed. So in your journey, I think you must have been through a lot of places. You must have met a lot of people. What would be that one incident that you still remember precisely that you think can inspire and motivate others from the journey that you've had with Khalsa Aid?
Oh, there are so many incidents. You know, there's some crazy incidents around the world. I remember Pakistan earthquake 2005. I still got the picture. I only shared the picture once or twice. And we were on this mountainside in a little camp where there are people were brought, people who was affected by the earthquake. And I was in the camp. It was mid-morning, and somebody shouting for me, Khalsa ji, come. Yeah. Look who they found. I went to a tent. In the tent, about 10, 20 people. And right on the, it was a small tent, not like a normal room size tent. And in the corner was a bed. And on the bed was one of the oldest person I've ever seen in my life. She must be really old. Very, very small. Okay. I still got the picture somewhere because somebody took the picture as I approached her. She was so old. In the village where the earthquake happened, most people died, but she survived. And when she saw me, maybe something to do with the partition in 1947, maybe there's a history with the Sikhs. This is in Pakistan, in Muzaffarabad. As I approached her, she grabbed my face like this, and she kept blessing me. I couldn't understand anything she was saying. She's called me to her mouth of my ear. She's desperately trying to say something. It just wasn't making sense. But she was like blessing all the time. The same thing, you know, it lives, that moment lives with you. And the same thing happened on the 1999 Kosovo border. We were giving food. We had some extra food left over. And we were traveling back to the UK. We thought we will pack the food, and the refugees who are sitting around, we'll give them the food and run. You can't distribute food openly because too many people come and you get mobbed. So we thought we will make the food packs. We will drive the van to the people sitting down, quickly give it to them, run. Take the van and go. So I remember going to this family, again, a very elderly woman. Her husband was there. He was really old. She was very old. They're young. The son must be about 35, 40. He was blind. He was shaking. He was very ill. He couldn't stop shivering. And she must be in her 80s or maybe late 70s. And she just grabbed my face like this. Just grabbed it. And that, you know, I remember like everything went slow motion because we're supposed to give the food and run back to the van. And those 15, 20 seconds, like the time stopped. And I still remember her image in my head, that face, very old face. She just grabbed me like this, looking into my eyes, and I'm vaguely aware her son's shaking. He was blind, and her husband, who's elderly, the clothes were wet. It was winter time, sort of thing, and that look straight in my eyes, right next to me, and it's just what was 15, 20, 30 seconds must have for me like a lifetime. So the whole thing that comes is like these moments. You don't forget that you're here as a human being. She didn't see me as a Sikh. I didn't see her as a Muslim. I saw her and she saw me as a person who came to help. And all the blessings, the silent blessings that followed. So, we need to understand that we are in this very timeless universe. The universe is timeless. Our lives are nothing. 60, 70 years, 80 years is nothing. Not even a speck in this universe. Yet we rather choose to live in hate and bitterness than to spend those 60, 70 years making a better world for everyone. So, there's a lot of love outside. Don't focus on the hate.
Agreed, sir. I think that's a wonderful message from your end. And moving ahead, I think Khalsa Aid is an organization that must have received love from so many ends. And in this process, some of the organization must have also wanted to collaborate with you or wanted to, work together with you. Is there any moment wherein you must have collaborated with, a certain organization and you both must have worked hand in hand?
We work with organizations, like-minded organizations all over the world, wherever we can. Lions clubs, Rotary clubs, churches, mosques. Even in Iraq now, we're working with Barzani Foundation to reach the refugees because they have the manpower to help us deliver the aid. So working together I think like-minded people makes it much easier. We will be happy. We're always happy to work with like-minded people at local level. So, for instance, in Malawi, in Africa, in Zambia, in Africa, we're working with locals. We're working with local organizations because they have the knowledge, the know-how. We're not very, we're not arrogant or ignorant. We fully appreciate that organizations on the ground in those local areas have the skill set, the knowledge, basic like we discussed before. So yeah, we're always happy to work and liaise with organizations on the ground, anywhere.
All right, sir. And does the government also fund your organization in certain causes? I think because mostly you go to different countries, every country has a government. So do they also collaborate with you or fund you in certain causes?
No, we don't get any funding from any government or grants for any organizations, other organizations. We're a completely NGO, non-government. We do not. Maybe in the future, as we grow, maybe in the future we may get government funding from the UK. We haven't applied any. We never had any, and we don't really have plans at the moment. We are purely funded by the public, the Sangat around the world, individuals.
All right, sir. Since we're in Punjab, we are a university that is located in Punjab. We would want to know what sort of a plan do you have to expand Khalsa Aid in Punjab itself? Are you planning to open up more and more institutions so that more young volunteers can participate in this particular cause?
Yes, we were discussing it not long ago in the office here. We want to do much more funding in Punjab from the UK, USA, and Canada. We've got a great team. Like I said, you're led by Amarpreet Singh in Patiala, office in Jalandhar too. But it's, I would say, for us, we work all around the world, but working in India is the toughest for us. So we like to do much more in Punjab. We can work with you guys. We can work with university to develop some villages. We can fund from here. But it's easy for us to fund projects in Iraq than India. India restrictions are so tight. They are extremely tight. You would think that it's easier for us to work in our own home, but it's not. It's the hardest. We're going to face corruption, red tape, suspicion. We get treated like suspicion. And that's the fact, we'll be, when I go to Punjab, there'll be phone calls from the police. Where is he? What's he doing? It's like unbelievable. We get a lot of, I think, if you ask me, the hardest place to work for us, personally and professionally, is in India and Punjab. So toughest isn't Iraq. It isn't any part of the world. So It's the red tape, suspicion. Suspicion is the most. I don't feel safe when I come to Punjab. I feel that there are people who are targeting people like me for no reason because we live in England. England is a very, very well-developed country on security and intelligence. So if you do something wrong, we will be in jail. So why would we be treated suspicion in our own homeland? So we would definitely, if Lovely University wants to work with our team in Patiala, from the UK, we can even fund some joint project in villages for health, welfare, so that people, especially for me, my ultimate goal is to help a lot of women who are struggling with health issues. So something I like to develop. We can have a project with yourselves or with other organizations that is already well established, respected, where we can do equal funding for the well-being of the people who are struggling in Punjab, in poverty, in poor areas. I don't care what religion the people are. These people are people. But there is so much, I think, like your university's got a reputation. We got a reputation. We should be able to link together. How can we fund a project on health and well-being for people around the villages, around the university, and make it a model? We're willing to work with anyone for the well-being of people. And no matter how difficult situations are for us to work in any country, we have the will to work. And our team, again, the one led by Amarpreet Singh in Patiala, doing amazing work during the floods. And now when the migrants were going back during the coronavirus, a lot of laborers were going back. They went out to feed them during the Punjab flood. They even went, Amarpreet's team had even been to Rohingya refugees, Nepal, Kerala was a big operation. So we're all working much as we can, but we would love to work with universities and institutions in Punjab for the betterment of people. We have no political gains. We're not affiliated with any political parties. I don't have any support for any political party. For me, I will give my opinions are equal on all political parties. But if you talk about betterment of people in Punjab, we're happy to work with anyone.
That's great, sir. And I'll tell you that in our university as well, we have a student organization cell wherein we have student organizations, students like us who go to different villages and we adopt those villages. We try to, educate them or maybe give, certain tips and tricks to the farmers so that how they can, grow the crop in a better way. So we do all of that. And I think it would be wonderful if we could, collaborate and perhaps, build better communities in the villages that are around us.
It would be wonderful. If you guys want to do that, then we can set a meeting, myself, Amarpreet Singh there. Even if you start a small project, because I always say start a small project. If there's any issues we can iron out, we can then recognize our weakness and strength and build on it. We'll be happy to start a small project and work up, because then it will inspire your students too.
Agreed. So, sir, I mean, there is so much of discussion about the work that we're doing, but I wanted to ask you as well, what do you do for recreation? I mean, I think since 24 hours, there are so many news about, how there are some accidents. So, but there must be certain personal space that you demand and that you seek. How do you, balance everything in order so that you can get your space as well, so that you can get to know about yourself as well?
Well, I don't really, for the last 21 years, Khalsa Aid has become like a way of life. It's a 24/7, 12 at night, 2 in the morning, 11 in the morning. There's no such thing for me as a personal space. I live, breathe Khalsa Aid. It's when you set something up, it's not a job, it's an obsession that you want to make sure you do it. But the way I relax, there are ways I love. Like I really, really love watching horror movies. I'm a horror movie fan. The worst horror movie, I would love to, even my wife doesn't watch it with me, so I can sit down, I can have my food and watch a really good horror movie. And, I have my own passions too. I like old American cars from the 80s. I like the old muscle cars. So if I was one very, very important point is Khalsa Aid was set up in a way to become an institution. It wasn't set up for Ravi Singh to control it, be the holy man, and become a millionaire. I'm just an ordinary guy, have a cup of coffee. Everything in Khalsa Aid is under a trust board. The trustees are independent. All the funds, all the operations. Ravi Singh doesn't have the money, access to the money for personal use. I'm not having like jet sets or holidays or big house. I'm a normal guy with normal lifestyle, just to like have a passion that, because normally when you have something from India or Asia, when a person leads it, that person either becomes like a holy man or he starts controlling everything. That's me, my family. This isn't the case with Khalsa Aid. This Khalsa Aid is set up as an institution to be independent. So if I drop that today, it continue as an organization that's an institution, not controlled or benefiting one person. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So I unwind, I relax, I go for a coffee, I meet my friends, I love a cup of coffee, and I watch a good horror movie if I can get hold of one, or take my American car for a drive. But it's the 24/7 thing. It's not, you can't switch off. You can't switch off. You know, our employees who work for us, they can switch off. But for me, it's 24/7 because there's so many stuff going on. The bigger you grow, the bigger responsibilities.
Great. Has there ever been a case wherein you've went to, help a certain place or a certain, territory, but the people out there opposed you or your organization to not enter because there are certain places which do not like the, different people coming from different parts to help because they think that this is just a way to enter into our culture and then they're going to exploit it and then they're going to move forward. Has there ever been an issue like that in your work the last 20, 21 years?
Only once we had a problem in Rwanda. I think it was Rwanda.
Right.
Rwanda. We went to a village, and it was a Christian village. It was 2003, 2002 or 3. They thought we were from the Middle East. They were very much against. I think that was during the time after 9/11 and the other stuff going on. They thought, oh, these guys are Muslims from the Middle East. They're Arabs. It's a Christian village. We don't want these guys. They wouldn't let us get out of the car. We weren't even working in the area. They're like, no, we don't want these guys here. Just leave. That's the only time, but it was just passing through a village. Other parts of the world, no, we never really had any restrictions. We work in Iraq, we work in Lebanon, we work in Turkey, we all across India as well. We never really had an issue.
All right.
Maybe we will. Sooner or later we may.
Yeah, I think we are now living in a world which is, mostly driven by emotions rather than facts. And I think it wouldn't be, an over-exaggeration if I say that we are living in a post-truth era, because we see that the changes that are happening in the world, the government leaders as well, they have a set pattern in their head as to how they want to see the world function. And I think what you are doing is what the government should do. These are the things that I think government should take responsibility for. But I wanted to ask this question that since there are so many different attacks from terrorist organizations as well, and in that terrorist attacks, religion is also involved, right? I think there are certain places wherein, they say that why are you going to help them, that these people are terrorists, that these people are, giving fund. You're helping somebody who's going to destroy. How do you tackle these and how do you, try to educate the people all around the world to ensure that there is more bigger picture than just killing people?
Well, if you look at terrorism, if you look at attacks, you look at hatred, that's all over the world. That's from the UK to Iraq to India to Indonesia to Philippines, everywhere there's issues. There is not a place where there's no issues. As Sikhs, what makes me proud is, in 1984 we suffered a huge genocide. Our people, the Sikhs, never once said, right, okay, we got attacked in India by Indian mobs, we're going to stop langar, we're going to shut the gurdwaras, we're going to hate people now. No, nobody said that. And that made me really proud. So why should we point fingers at other people when we got issues at home to sort out ourselves? So we will always get, the saddest part was in 2017 when our team went to help in Bangladesh, Rohingya refugees, right?
Yeah, Rohingya.
So most of Indian people were supportive. There were right-wing Indian groups that spread lies, propaganda, that why are you helping Rohingya refugees? They were targeting our volunteers with the most horrible propaganda. There was one of our volunteers, George Singh, he was on the border giving water to a Rohingya refugee child. Those children had just arrived. We were giving water out, our guys in Bangladesh. He had one bottle left, so he was giving bottle of water, sharing it with people like from a distance, like drink water. There was a picture of him giving water to a small 9 or 10-year-old Rohingya refugee boy, a Singh from Dari and, the beard. He was giving him water.
Yeah.
And, some of the Indian groups wrote a big snake feeding a small snake, a Khalistani terrorist feeding a Muslim terrorist. So, and the worst part was, there were like thousands of likes. I'm thinking, these are normal people. That could be our own child that's struggling. Why are we judging? So, but the good thing was, let me tell you, great thing was, the good people of India stood up. The good people finally spoke out against the right wingers and buried them in their own hatred. So, what we learn is we will always get, why are you helping Muslims? Why are you helping this? Why are you helping Christians? But we don't help any religion. We don't help Muslims or Christians or whatever.
We help the people.
As Sikhs, we suffered in 47. We suffered in 84. We suffered as a minority. We are a minority. We know what it feels like. The Yazidi community in Iraq, they're a minority. The Yazidi community had over 5,000 girls kidnapped by and abducted as slaves by ISIS. And we were there to help because our history is, that's what Sikhs are. We help everyone. So, but we don't want to get into this debate, you are this, you are that. What we do is we encourage people saying, look, that boy, that little kid, the baby in the camp, that could be your child. Circumstances change overnight. We are all human beings. Who is dividing us? Who is making us hate another person? If you look at our Guru's history, our battles are with everyone, with the Hill Rajas, with the Mughals. We don't hate any Christians, we don't hate any Muslims. If you say, I also get told, oh, there are a lot of conversions in Punjab from Christians. Can you do something about it? I get this question, right? And my answer is simple. What are you doing for the poor people of Punjab, or the Hindus, the Sikhs, or whatever? What are you doing to fill their bellies? If somebody comes along, gives your children, you're starving, you're hungry, and your children are hungry, and that person feeds you, you're going to think that person is God to you. Why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing that? But when somebody does it, we complain. Our weakness is we are not doing the work we should be doing, but we're easy to lift fingers. So I will not say who is good, who is bad, because our inaction, our way of life, the way we are so judgmental. We will not take action to help, but will condemn. We need to change our way of thinking. We need to be more humanitarian, embrace each other. Because like I said to you before, somebody in the village might be different caste to me, but we're all Sikhs. As a Sikh, I should embrace people and say, no, this Sikh is lower caste. And then somebody comes along saying, no, you're not lower caste, you're my brother. And they will embrace them. But why don't we say that's my brother? When are we going to get rid of this evil casteism? So we have our own issues. Before we point fingers at other people, we have our own issues. I've never seen anybody by their faith in the camps in Iraq, in India, in Africa. I just see people. I see you as a person. I have no idea what your belief is. And whatever you tell me won't change me. I will judge you as a person, the way you behave, the way you are towards other people. I will judge you by that, but I will not judge you by your religion or your faith. That is my message to youngsters. Judge people by their actions, not by their faith. If a refugee is hungry, you will judge them for the hunger. You don't say, well, you're a Muslim, I'm not going to give you food. Again, Guru Nanak Dev Ji went all the way to Iraq. Guru Nanak Dev Ji traveled to Iraq, and we went to Iraq in 2014, and I spoke to the refugees on the border, to the Yazidi. They asked me, the older Yazidi refugees, who are you? And I said, I'm a Sikh. And they said, oh, we never had a Sikh. I said, no, 500 years ago, a Sikh came here. His name was Guru Nanak, and we're inspired by his message. So if our gurus can travel the world and meet different religions, Hindus and Muslims and whatever, what is our problem? We have to be accepting, especially when you label a child as a terrorist. What sort of person are you when you label children as terrorists? We really need to think. Punjab and generally India is a land of spirituality. It's known to be a mystical land of spirituality. So many prophets and so many gurus and so many holy people and sadhs and sadhus. It's a land of spirituality. But where is our spirituality? Our spirituality is your own brother will kill you over a piece of land. That is the fact in Punjab. Where we lost it. We've absolutely lost it. The police station near you will beat the hell, torture the hell out of an innocent person because somebody paid him 5,000 rupees. We lost it.
Yep.
Who challenges it?
Nobody.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's and I think there is so much that people can actually do if they just hear out the positive things from this particular conversation that we are having out here. And somewhere down the line, I think it should be taught from our childhood itself, and our society should be in that particular shape so that we can get nurtured in a better person. It also depends upon the places and the people that we grow around with. So if the place and the people who are in that particular place work better, think better, and act better, I think things will be more interesting, and things can get more peaceful for all of us.
Take responsibility for your actions. Simple as that. Sir. Take responsibility for your actions. Corruption, fight for justice for all. Doesn't mean that somebody should be able to get beaten up. You know what? Let me tell you, sitting outside here, you can ask anybody outside Punjab, right? The reputation of Punjab police is really bad. Why? Yes. Why is it bad? Why are we not reforming it? We should be reforming it, but unfortunately, we accept it as a way of life. So we need to challenge As humanitarians, we must also talk about human rights. You can't be humanitarian. Sorry.
I'm sorry, sir, I was cutting you off. But I was asking, do you think that there is a normalization of these things? We think that, how it is the normal way of how things function.
Of course, it becomes the norm. Like I said, Punjab police is synonymous with torture and beatings, injustice, corruption. It's become norm. If I want something done in Punjab for my land issues, I've got to pay someone. If somebody wants to be a DSP, they've got to pay somebody at the top to reach that position. If somebody wants to join the army, they've got to pay a bribe. It's the norm. It's become so normal. I think if you stopped it, some society wouldn't function. It's the norm. Like now, I think you had I don't get into too much Indian politics, but you guys choose Bollywood stars to be your MPs in Punjab would never show up.
Yeah.
An MP, a member of parliament, is supposed to represent you, your area. Yes. They get elected for their glamour and they never show up. People should challenge all that. Say, look, I'm going to vote for you, but you're going to live here. And they don't. So it's become the norm. Yeah, you're right. It's accepted. So it's a battle. It's an uphill battle.
Yeah. I think there are so many cases of drugs as well that is prevalent in most of the countries. I would not say just India because it's everywhere. And the youth especially is, driven towards that particular area as well. What do you think should be done so that, we do not see these objects as, woke or something that is, hip, but rather than, that these are the things that you're not supposed to enter into? How can we change that mindset? Because
first of all, you talk about drugs. The first issue about drugs is this. I remember, from 84 to 94, the violence in Punjab, and there was everything on the border was tight. So how can the police and security forces stop weapons coming in, but they can't stop drugs coming in?
Yes.
Who's bringing the drugs in? It's people at high places who bring the drugs in. They make millions out of it. Because if you can say we stop bringing the arms smuggling from Pakistan to Punjab, that's been stopped. Why can't they stop drugs? Because there are people high level involved. youngsters, my message to the youngsters is that, when you see easy solution to something, you got to understand, nothing in life is easy. And if you want to succeed in life, you got to follow your own message, when you look at your elders, you look at your history. Our history is a proud history. Punjabis generally are revolutionaries, no matter what religion they're from. We're poets, we're fighters, we're thinkers, we work hard. But this generation that I think is hip to take drugs, or there's a new craze opened up, the shisha bar, have the hookah, whatever, cigarettes, tobacco. All you're doing is you're destroying yourself. And one person, when a young person who's listening in now goes on drugs, they destroy the whole family.
Yeah.
It's not just one person. I'm not going to lecture people how bad or whatever it is. I'm telling people that when you start taking drugs, it starts from small thing, and it goes up.
Yeah.
And once you get hooked to it, you will destroy your whole family. So if you're thinking about taking drugs, if you got friends who take drugs, if you're feeling pressure to take drugs, you have your own mind. But when you start taking drugs, you will lose that mind. You don't control your mind or your body. You lost control. You are at the mercy of others. If you want to live like a slave to a drug or alcohol, then carry on. If you remain independent, you want to be strong in life, you want to achieve, you got to think for yourself and stop this substance abuse. Don't even think about taking drugs, and build your body. Be strong, be physical. So physical, mental well-being is both important. These drugs will destroy your whole generation, the whole family.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I think, you've been giving a lot of positivity through these discussions that we're having out here. And I think I would, ask you the final question as to what would be your message in general to each and every being, each and every individual who's watching us live right now. I think there are so many things that you can say, but if you could spread out every word into a brief description as to what your message is.
I think my message to the youngsters, especially the youngsters listening in now, viewing this, is that you have a great opportunity. You're on social media, you're educated, you're mostly spending universities, you've got places like Lovely University and other places who are doing great work. You've got this wonderful opportunity to mold your life, to take charge of your life, to build yourself to be a better person. A person isn't judged by their riches. A person isn't judged by just like how big of a job they achieve. A person, when you leave this world, you will leave it as you came into this world. You came naked, you will leave it naked. It's what you achieve in the middle, the deeds you carry out, what your humanity will define you. So if you're a young person now studying university or school or wherever you are, do not miss this opportunity to build a better world. Build yourself, build people around you, lift those who are struggling. Don't wait for someone else. People always wait for someone else to start something. If you want to do something, get up, take the step, and I can guarantee you people around you will follow you and they will support you. So if one of you guys want to do something in a village and you tell your friends, they will help you. All the people who achieved in life, they've done it by taking the first step. Be the person that takes the first step and be inspired by humanity. Shed the hatred. Do not hate another religion or a person for their beliefs, because nobody likes their beliefs being hated, including yourself. So just be better.
Absolutely. Great, so fantastic. Thank you so much. I think it was a great discussion. I have personally learned a lot of things from this particular discussion that we've had, and it was so interesting to hear out so many stories as well that you've said. And I think if our university opens and if we get a chance to invite you to our university, we would request you to come and speak out in our auditorium and address the students of our campus as well. And while you are about to leave this particular session, I'd like to request you to kindly give few words for the student organizations, Society for Management Learning as well, who has helped us in conducting this particular event and helping you and us connecting with each other.
Well, thank you for the student bodies for inviting, because what you've done by inviting me to do a talk is you got the message across to so many more. And I've seen some of the wonderful work you guys are doing, student bodies at other universities. It's great to see you guys inviting different people, different points of view. So what you're doing is you created a platform for people like myself and other people to address the young minds, to mold the young minds, and to challenge us and to challenge yourself. It's wonderful to see your society, your student society, carrying out this this work. And I think strengthen the platform. If there's anything else we can do, we will help. And this is an absolutely wonderful way to share knowledge, pass knowledge, and to inspire each other. So wonderful work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye, Guruji ka Khalsa, bye, Guruji ki Fateh. And would definitely love to have more discussions ahead with you. Thank you so much, everybody, all the students who are watching us. Thank you so much, the student organization and the entire LPU team for helping us in conducting the session. With this, I'd like to thank sir and everybody who watched us. Have a great day ahead. Hope you all enjoyed this. This is Vishnu signing off.